Welcome to my ramblings. This episode, um, I forgot what I was going to call it. So, well, you can't tell a book by its cover anyway. Um, Sort of some intertwined stories. Um, when I was at Lantiv, um, I had just transferred over. Um, my supervisor was a very smart woman in some regards. Like most people, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Um, and I was used to the Department of Interior way is, you tell them your perspective, your opinion, you think they're doing something wrong, you point it out, but the policy is once the decision is made, you fall in line with it. And, that's understandable. Somebody has to make the decision, and, by the organizational structure we had, the responsibility for various decisions, fell at various levels. And so, this episode was actually going to be about circuiting of lighting fixtures and what have you. And I actually learned a lot um, from this supervisor. Stuff that I hadn't thought about and hadn't considered, like such as, you don't need a separate equipment grounding conductor going out to each circuit. Um, but you know, she had abusive qualities about her, and in one episode I mentioned how she goes, "Oh my God, I'm terrified now." And you tend to, I'd have sent this woman a Christmas. She was married. I don't mean anything. I'd have sent her a Christmas gift every year for what I learned from her. But the first thing that always comes back is the negative stiffness, the negative stuffness. So I had to get out of there. So I was looking around for other jobs, as stated in my other videos. But one of the things I would come to learn um, when I left my civil service position, well, I was removed from my civil service position. I went through one of the Illinois approved teacher training programs that allows, since I worked for more than 5 years or more in the discipline that I got my degree in, I was able to become a substitute school teacher, not a substitute, a regular school teacher. So I went through this intensive learning program. We learned about learning methods, teaching methods, how people learn, psychology of adolescents and younger children, and basically it was so that we understood where they were in their cognitive development. Um, you know, People don't wake up from birth and have the ability of abstract thought. Well, typical human, me included, you know, we start to acquire the ability to think in abstract terms. High school and later, many people really develop those abilities, past high school age. That's just human evolution, I guess. Um, so um, so really, what her effect was, as I would learn, is you shut down the learning centers, and I don't know if she had military experience. Maybe she was in the reserves, and I don't know. So I don't talk. I never render an opinion on military training or boot camp or stuff. No, I've never been through boot camp, so I don't know what it's like. But you know, they have a different purpose than school teacher or somebody supervising engineers. Those guys are going to end up in some capacity involved in our military, and they're not going to sit there, analyze and process and look at alternatives and stuff like that. They're going to need muscle memory to for when things get really stressful, I guess in battle conditions and stuff. So what they do there, I know what I don't know about a lot of times. So you know, so when you say that the workplace should be conducive to mental processes being able to take place, we're talking about the office, not every damn industry, not military, not anything. But one of the things they teach us, even in the substitute teaching classes, that um, and this kind of goes back to, if anybody remembers it, and they used to teach it in high school back in the 70s, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It actually has direct application in the classroom. And I'm talking about, if a kid needs to go to the bathroom and the teacher won't let him, that kid's not going to be sitting there and learning. He's going to be preoccupied with not pissing his pants or something. So when a kid needed to go, after taking the substitute course, and particularly after going through the teacher training program, there's kid asks, needs to go, off you go. Some teachers wouldn't let them. Yeah, they run the risk of, kid goofing off, or, it's not like they could get outside and run across the street. So, there's just certain conditions where, if, engineers, I think a lot of people look at it as production work. I've never actually done production work. Maybe what they were trying to have me do at Lantiv might have qualified as production. I don't know. It was one of those places where they didn't want you. It seems like they didn't want you to think. And uh, my entire career, I've never done anything off the top of my head. There's, you know, I had a hard time adjusting to that. But so I thought I could go and talk to her when she was talking. She was talking about the NEC, and I said, "Well, you know, I know IET curves and stuff." I'm trying to explain that. She just tried to shut me down. No, we just do NEC and stuff. You know, you got to be real careful when you talk about equipment being protected when you design it only to the minimum requirements of the NEC. The NEC is a risk management strategy. It's designed to minimize the risk to fire. It's designed to minimize the risk to personnel for shock and electrocution. But if you try to protect a motor to the NEC, you've mitigated the risk of fire and shock to the extent that the industry has considered, what you can reasonably get to. Electricity is inherently dangerous. There's always going to be a situation that could arise where there's just not much you could do about it. But when you try to protect the motor and stuff, it's probably maybe considered way too much effort in terms of time, and then therefore in terms of the monetary costs of it. So I think a lot of people just defer to the NEC when it comes to motors. Transformers can be a little bit different. The NEC, I think, is more of a quick guide to protecting a transformer. But again, it's so that you don't have a fire or create an electrical shock condition. The training I got early in my career, we looked at damage curves and transient. I want to call it transient response, but it's actually the inrush. Well, there's transient stuff related. And, and she's just wailing on me about it is protected. We're gonna do it for the NEC. But excuse me. She was very smart in what she did. So, although I really did appreciate what I learned there, it's always like, damn, the price I had to pay for it was like, you know. So what I was going to get at, I don't quite recall. But these things are rehearsed. Kind of got off on a tangent. Talked about a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Circuiting, which is very important. Again, the NEC. And I'm getting a runny nose. So unless I find the point I was going to reach to, I'm going to end this video. But this everything, in engineering, in a sense, it's complicated. You can make it as simple as you want, but if you think about what you're doing and stuff, there's reasons why NEC codes are in place. There's underlying engineering and installation um, concepts, and experience, and from past stuff that happened, in installations that gets built into the NEC. And um, sometimes you have to write in and say, hey, I don't understand this. Sometimes you can almost see the basis for why they do things certain ways. And really, where I was going with this, and I'll take it up in part two of this, is, assumptions, underlying conditions, and stuff like that. And it has to do with specifications. So we'll leave it at that. This primary topic is circuiting of electrical equipment. How you wire it, how do you account for it on panel schedule, the difference between a panel legend and a panel schedule, and there's a very strong underlying thing with regard to specifications that totally different topic, totally different reasoning, totally different reasoning, but the fact that there are underlying reasons why they are the way they are um, kind of falls into the same category. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, circuiting is far too complex to describe verbally. I suppose one could come up with a quick paragraph, but so how you circuit the fixtures and stuff is kind of important. And there's going to be a ramble that I do, probably released at the same week this one is, on negative sequence current from power system theory and sequence diagrams and all of that, and unbalanced current. So anyway, I contribute to the book. Next time I post it on GoFundMe or something like that, and you can get some advanced chapters. All right, thank you.